Green energy businesses and sustainable investments also did well, with shares of Hannon Armstrong, HASI, up more than 10%. And we have the CEO joining us again. Jeff Eckel is the chairman as well. Jeff, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Oliver. Glad to be here.
So today, obviously a big day here, but also a big week too, where we just got through midterms. No big drastic changes. And I want to start there in our conversation because as an investor in sustainable businesses, green energy, do you view the current landscape for politics as still being generally favorable?
Well, yes. The Inflation Reduction Act is the first time in my 40-year career that the United States has had a national energy policy, even a national energy strategy. And that is the financial architecture that's needed to scale clean energy. Now, in terms of the midterms, I think it was a terrific night for democracy. We actually are having elections that aren't necessarily contested,
sure.
Which is also a terrific fact for investing in general in the U.S.
Now, your earnings from earlier this month, your stock has been bouncing since. What are the big themes driving your investments right now?
It's another good quarter of execution by the company. We were up 20% year over year in a market that has not been a fun market for very many financial companies. Earned 49 cents a share and reaffirmed guidance through 2024 of 10 to 13% distributable EPS growth, as well as our 5 to 8% dividend growth. So the ability to reaffirm growth, to execute in a challenging market, that's terrific. In the last 4 or 5 months, we've invested about $500 million in climate solutions. These are the physical assets that reduce carbon emissions. Even though we've invested $500 million, we've increased our pipeline to more than $4.5 billion. So the market is very strong, and we're not even seeing the impact of the Inflation Reduction Act yet. That will take several years to roll out the positive impacts to the industry.
So, Jeff, right now, do you find that you're putting more money on investments that you had been in, or is it in new innovation that you're attracted to? Where is that incremental dollar that Hannon Armstrong is putting in the sector right now?
Great question. So we invest in wind, solar, energy efficiency, more conventional investments. We are seeing the yields on those investments go up, which is very helpful for everybody. And part of that is the backdrop is the price of electricity, the price of natural gas has gone up, which gives an economic advantage to these clean energy technologies. And those prices needed to go up, and they are. But we're also looking at new sectors. For us, carbon is what we invest in, and the reduction of carbon. And historically, we've been in the electric power sector. But that's only 25% of the carbon emissions in the U.S. So there's ag, there's industry, there's transport, the built environment. We announced 2 transactions this quarter, one in renewable natural gas, basically taking the methane out of landfill gas, capping the landfill, and running that into a natural gas pipeline to offset the hydrocarbons. The other was a school bus modernization for Los Angeles city schools. And a terrific project to reduce the use of diesel fuels in those school buses, get kids to school on time. It's very much a digital optimization of the school bus fleet, as well as an eventual electrification into EVs. So two new investments for us.
Very cool. Love those details. Jeff, thinking about how this market over the last year has prioritized old energy, I mean, generally the stuff that you're betting on getting phased out over the long term. We've had this inflationary cycle where drillers and oil producers, nat gas as well, all that stuff has gone very far upwards. Today kind of changes that tone a little bit, where there's some hope maybe inflation peaks out. How does that macro conversation inform your investments? Do you gain confidence on a day like today?
Absolutely, but I want to take a step back and talk about the impact of Ukraine on the hydrocarbon business, the fossil fuel industry. We're basically going to need to produce a lot more hydrocarbons in the Western world and export those to Europe to offset Russian hydrocarbons. It's not like we're actually producing or burning more hydrocarbons, but we are going to have to produce more until Europe and ourselves can decarbonize in the sectors that are really quite achievable to decarbonize, like the electric power sector. There's no need for European households to heat to 72 degrees using natural gas. That can be done with heat pumps, but that's going to take time. So we're not a anti-fossil fuel company. The hydrocarbons are phenomenal things, but they shouldn't be used where they can be done much more effectively and cheaply with an electrification program.
So you view that geopolitical conflict as having lasting implications for the sector, that that's not something we're going to revert back to in the West?
If the European Union learns anything, is you can't trust Russia. We couldn't trust the Middle East in the 70s with the Arab oil embargoes. You have to have domestic energy security. That is national security. Hey,
Jeff, as to bring this back to the fundamentals of the business, as you keep beating analyst expectations for the top line, how does that factor into the payout for investors? Tell me about your guys' shareholder-friendly activity. Any dividend buybacks in the works?
No, we are a dividend payer, and we'll keep paying our dividend. As I said, we've reaffirmed our guidance. We are a capital investor right now, so buying our shares back is not a super great idea for us. The investable opportunity for us is so large that we want to keep optimizing, prioritizing to the best risk-adjusted yields, but this is a market that is simply enormous. What we've got with the plus 10-year visibility from the Inflation Reduction Act is something I've never imagined would exist in the industry. Wow. This is a very big deal for all of us.
Okay. And stock up about 40% off the lows of the year after getting hit throughout the first couple quarters. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on it and continue the conversation. Jeff, thanks very much for the update.
Thanks, Oliver.
Sure thing. Jeff Eckel is the chairman and CEO of Hannon Armstrong, up 10%, more than that today.